Let's get it. Let's get it. Here we go. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Welcome to a new episode of the Skweek Show by Tony Parker. I'm super excited today. We're going to talk to one of the greatest basketball minds in the NBA today, Masai Ujiri. I'm super excited, and he accepted in Paris, of course. Masai,
Oh,
how you doing? Thank you very much for doing this.
what's up, bro?
Very good to see you.
Good to see you, man. Thanks for having me.
we have to deal with my co-host, that's Stephen.
Ça va, Steven? Tu vas bien? Ça va? Très bien.
I'm super excited.
This is
Super
awesome.
excited today because we don't have a chance to talk to GMs a lot. Usually we do players.
Yes.
And I wanted to do something different, in our show and try to explain for younger generation that yes, you want to become a basketball player,
Yes.
but you have a lot of other opportunities that you can do in the NBA. So my first question is very easy. How do you become a GM for people who don't know?
It's a big question. There are many people that do it, and first of all, they're doing an incredible job. This is incredible.
Thank you.
I think, seeing basketball after you've played and how you look at it, I've followed it, and it's really inspiring. So thank you guys for having me. Honestly, becoming a GM, I started as a scout, like traveling, the world. Right after you guys, it's probably Boris Diaw and all the other guys, watching. And
So what was your first team? You started as a scout?
Yes.
Who you were working for? when you were a
at the
scout?
time, I was an unpaid scout.
Yeah, you,
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
you paid everything. Huh?
Yes, and I
Oh,
traveled.
I did
and
not know that.
Yes,
Also, you pay from your own pocket.
for the Orlando Magic for 1 year.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it's a real lesson for people, because sometimes you have to sacrifice. And I always say you have to show more passion than ambition. So when I even started, my mind was just learning, how do I learn the game? But look at where the game is now, it's global. Look at what we're doing here. And I learned, to watch the Petrus brothers, to watch Johan Petro here. So I spent a lot of time actually here, the Boris Diaw at the time. And then in Serbia, there are all those players too coming, Darko, all those guys coming out of. And then around the world, South America, and then it expands your mind. And then when you learn like that, you start to promote, oh, I saw Tony Parker and he's so good. And you don't really think of the American players because you always focus on the guys you are seeing because I was an international scout. And so I started learning the American game too because I was living there. And I really learned high school, college, and the pros. And now you can compare. Yeah, because my example in Orlando then was I was pushing Barbosa. Yeah, because he was one of the players in the draft. Barbosa is so good, blah, blah, blah. But there were other great guys in the States that were in that draft, but I did not know them as much.
Okay.
So you have to be able to compare.
To compare, yeah.
Yes, and so that's how I continued to grow, learn the business side of the game, learn the whole dynamic, but actually show the passion to learn it. And then you get promoted and you get opportunities. And I went to Denver, became director of global scouting. And I came back to Toronto, worked for Brian Colangelo as assistant GM. Remember Brian?
Yeah, of course.
Yes, and Brian actually introduced me to your dad, for the first
really?
time, yes, traveling with him. Small world, right? Yes, and then became GM in Denver, and what an incredible experience at the time. And then back to Toronto again in 2003 as president. And now, here we find ourselves still there, vice chairman and president. It's an unbelievable journey.
I love those kind of
journey.
stories.
Yeah.
I love those kind of stories. Unbelievable journey.
Yeah.
When did you think that the NBA changed? Meaning, okay, I can trust a European player to be my franchise guy? When did you think that turnaround, that shift, because for a long time, like me, when I started basketball, I wanted to show my dad that French people can play.
You changed the mind.
Yes.
I was a part of the beginning, with Power and Dirk.
I was going to say that you and Dirk changed, like I think everything. We saw, like the struggles of both of you, like in the beginning. Yes, and things that you had to overcome that in the past, European players hadn't quite like overcome that, which was, like getting past the coaching, getting past, like every other thing, the pressures of America, like the passion there is different. Yeah, like to bring up the and even the environment, the style of game, too. And we look at your game and how it's aged, like, and now like the floaters is what everybody wants, like those things are very underrated, like, and now we started to realize, like that if it can be done, you did it at the highest level. Now, how can we start to really, it's difficult to find another Tony Parker, let's be real, to find another Dirk. It's not the easiest thing, like to find. Yeah, so, but the other players that can come and complement, like now there are a lot more. I think there are more than 100, how many, like international players in the NBA. It wasn't like that before. So you, Dirk, Manu Ginobili, you guys opened really like that mindset, even for us as scouts and player personnel in the NBA.
It's amazing the way that the game grew, like when you look at the NBA games and you see like the growth and like me, it makes me very proud when I see that now we have 14 French guys, in the NBA,
Yes.
The most European country represented, in the league and the atmosphere and the connection, between France and the NBA when it started with the Dream Team all the way to here. Did you ever thought that one day, when I started playing, I never thought that one day you can look at the top 5 players and it's not an American. Yes. You have Luka, you have Giannis, Shai, Jokic, and Joel Embiid. That's the top 5 guys right now for MVP conversation. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's truly, truly amazing. And you think about it how you look at that way. Me, I look at it globally. But even think about it, an African. I grew up in Africa. I didn't grow up in the States. Like so up to when I was 19 years old. And so for me to see Joel Embiid, Pascal Siakam, all these guys, like come into the league now. I saw them in camps, in Africa, sitting down in Basketball Without Borders, And now they come and they're impact players. Yeah, for me, to have that experience of a championship and actually have Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, and Serge Ibaka, who are African players, like to have that kind of like impact winning, not waving a towel, not cheerleading, like you're actually like contributing. Honestly, like Tony, it goes way back, like, and this is why Akeem Olajuwon, like Dikembe Mutombo, Manute Ball, it's the same thing you have built, like that these other young kids are going to see and grow from this. It's paved the way. You have no idea, like 10 years from now, you're doing this, like it's even going to be more fulfilling for you, like for all of us, like to see how it's going to go from 100 international players to even 200. You mentioned the top 5. Can you imagine that in the MVP race?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I think Africa, we only at the beginning.
At the beginning.
Like I think we only at the beginning.
It didn't even start yet.
No, it didn't, because we lack infrastructure on the continent.
Exactly,
and once all this infrastructure starts to come, I mean, you guys know firsthand, look at football.
Yes.
Like it's,
exactly.
Yes, every team, every country, everywhere, it's all there's a lot of African players, like, and basketball, I always say this, and I say it in a very respectful way, like, and I want people to really understand this. In Africa, there's hundreds of LeBrons walking around.
Yes.
But they've never touched a basketball. They've never. Some are 50 years old, some are 15 years old, some are 25 years old, that physique, the way they are, the way he is, I can guarantee you I can find 50 guys that look exactly like that. But they've never touched basketball because they've never gotten the opportunity. There's no
they're not
facilities.
exposed, yeah.
They've never, there's no place to play. Why football became big is, Tony, as soon as we come out of our mom's stomach, me the same, I'm more talented in football than I was in basketball. It's because as soon as you come out, you can go outside
And play,
And play.
soccer.
Yeah.
And kick the
Very,
ball.
very
and
easy,
kick.
yeah.
Yes, it's very easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In basketball, you need all of this, the first thing I thought when I saw this thing, I was like, man, I wish I can put this, just take this. I'm gonna ask Tony if I can just borrow this for like 3 months and go we need facilities. Yeah, we really do, and once that starts to come, we're working a lot of that. Amadou Fall,
Yeah.
you had Yakim Noah, Yan Mahini doing incredible work, Lual Deng. They're doing so much work, and I say again, what Dikembe, these guys have created for us, like a pathway. Akim Olajuwon, it's incredible.
We talked about that with Joachim yesterday. Like we talked about like the national teams. and
Yes.
Some people were sad that Joel Embiid didn't play for Cameroon. But how long do you think it's going to take for the infrastructure, to be ready, and for the national teams to be ready to have players like Embiid or Pascal Siakam, because they're used to a certain standard, with the hotels, traveling, all that kind of stuff. How long do you think it's going to take?
It's a federation, like every country has their federation issues, and you think about like even Europe, we still like grind through that. Think about it, how it is over there, like it's still a grind, like to get people to see sports, like bigger than competition, like sports is a business too, like to be bigger minded about it. I'm glad it's even growing even more. When you watch the World Cup, this last World Cup, this is going to be the most anticipated Olympics in basketball ever. Yes, because everybody is coming.
Yes.
Yes, everybody.
Especially for Team USA.
Yes,
Everybody's
Team
coming.
USA
Because
is coming,
Paris and everything,
Serbia is coming, everybody is
Canada.
coming, Canada is coming, everybody is coming loaded, like ready to play. And the World Cup was not quite like that before. Yeah, and now we're making it. That means the game is growing to me globally. Yeah, and Africa will catch up, like with that, just like World Cup in football.
In soccer.
Yes, when Cameroon or Ghana or Nigeria or any Senegal or these countries play in the World Cup, Morocco, Egypt, everybody watches now.
Yes.
Yeah, before everybody thought, they're just gonna get beat. Yeah, everybody watches now and watches because they know that there's a chance that they will win. Yeah.
Masai, let's talk about your job now. You have a connection with French player because when you were GM at Denver, you drafted Evan Fournier.
Yes.
All the medias were against you. Why you draft this guy? He cannot shoot.
Yes.
What can you tell us about the situation of Evan right now with the Knicks? He didn't play for. It's been 1 year. He didn't play. Why the Knicks can't trade him? What's going on with Evan's situation now?
Honestly, like that's the bad part of doing these kind of things is because I can't comment as much because it's another team's player. But, like with Evan, I always tell the league and I always tell everybody, guys that I've had, like I like my family almost, so a phenomenal player. And sometimes we're just in like funny situations in the NBA, Tony, like you find yourselves in difficult positions, right?
Because there's so many players.
So many
somewhere,
players,
exactly.
like not the right time. The timing is a little wrong, and all of that. But honestly, like you can see it like from both sides, but a player like this, honestly, I saw his development. We drafted him in Denver, like phenomenal mind, phenomenal player,
Is it true that when you drafted him, you wanted to stay in Europe for one more season, and he came to you and said, "No, I want to play right now"?
Yes, his mindset at that time, was incredible. For a young player, like to have that kind of a mindset, he was definitely a go-getter, like he didn't. I talked to Bona and we said, hey, we're going to, I don't know with George Carl and our team and where we were, like we had just done the Carmelo trade and, can we keep him here? And when I remember sitting down with Evan and he was, I want to come and play. I want to play, and he really he stuck it out, and I'm proud of him for that. And now you almost see him as a veteran in the NBA. I look at him as like an 18-year-old still,
His situation reminds me a little bit like Boris,
Yeah.
Boris Diaw was stuck in Charlotte. He was
Yes.
not playing at all.
Yeah.
And then he bought out his contract and came with us, with the Spurs.
Yes.
And basically launched his career again, you know what I
Yes.
mean, with us. And he played great for 3-4 years.
Yes.
And that's why sometimes, it's about opportunities
Yes.
and fit and stuff
and
like
being
that.
at the right place, right time,
for sure.
like the coach favors you, what the team is trying to do at the time, and I've been in both, like I've seen both, like where you're like, wow, like I wish it could work out like this. So yeah, I wouldn't 100% blame a team, like because sometimes from the outside, that's how we see it, but sometimes there's so many things that drive, like how a team is run, and it's unfortunate that the situation has to be like that.
What do you think about the game of today and the way that it involved, with a lot of threes and guys shooting from half court like it's nothing, what do you think about all that?
It's the new game, it's the new game, and the game is going to evolve in many ways, and who knew it will come down to this, like before, if you didn't have those two big guys inside,
Put the ball in the post.
put the ball in the post, watch them, everybody stops, and watches them, and it's unique, but I've always said, when the unique, it's gonna come back to bigger players again. Yes, because when you look at Giannis, Embiid, you look at how big Luka is, you look at Wemby now, there's going to come a time when there's like 4 of them on the same team in the future, one day.
Yeah.
Yes, and how do they occupy that
Space.
court
The
and
space and
space it?
everything, yeah.
And how do they dominate? Because these guys now shoot threes, and they might have to make this NBA court bigger, because I'm telling you, it's going to come to a time like that. Now, it's a little bit of a guards game, and it's a skilled game. It's shooting, but we've seen the game evolve
Change,
in so many ways. Like, Tony, how many players do we even think from before that will actually be good players now in the NBA, but before, we didn't like guys that were tweeners, right? Oh, what's your position?
What's his position?
Yeah, why he doesn't have a position?
Now nobody cares about the position.
Yeah,
anymore.
now nobody just go and play.
Yeah.
Yes, now nobody cares about the position.
Yeah.
And that time it was the most criticized thing. I remember I'll come into a meeting and we'll scout. First thing my bosses would say, he's a tweener. Where's he gonna play? What's he gonna do in the NBA?
I don't care, he's good.
Yeah, exactly. the thing. But at the time, we were not all thinking that way.
What is the first thing you look when you try to recruit somebody for your team? When you're building your team and you look at players, what is the first thing you're looking at?
Yeah, I'm gonna go tell the Spurs if I tell you. No, I think, first of all, you're attracted to physical ability, and then you start to look at feet, you start to look at hands, you look at IQ. You look at a lot of it is physical attributes, and it's not necessarily that you're jumping out of the gym, it's how now it's really how dynamic you are, on the floor. But this now is one of the big things, how you read the game, how you see the game. It's such a difficult thing because how can you project what an 18-year-old or 19-year-old is going to be.
How it's going to be his motor.
His motor is going to be. But how do we project somebody that's 19 years old, what he's going to be when he's 24? Yeah, it's a very, very difficult thing to do. Sometimes, what your mom and dad gave you is what you're going to have. Sometimes influence, sometimes people, sometimes things change a person, and sometimes adversity, sometimes something dynamic will happen to a human being, and all of a sudden, we say, man, he changed because of this or that. How do you project that when somebody is 18 years old?
Are you looking also the attitude, the way he acts on the bench, the way he interact with the teammates?
Yes.
You're looking everything?
Yes. I remember Kyle Lowry and we came to the EuroLeague, EuroCamp in Treviso. Yeah. Yes, and he one time with Adidas, and I was sitting, and I kept on, instead of watching the game, I kept on looking at the bench. And after the game, he said, Masai, you spent the whole time like looking at the bench. What were you looking at the bench? And I was looking at like the attitude of, I remember him specifically saying that to me, and I was looking, and he says, I know what you were looking at. You were looking at how the guy was
cheering.
Yes, was reacting when he's sitting down on the bench or to the coach, or if it goes into the game and all of those things, like now you start to go into character. Now you start to go into analytics. Now you have to go into all the other things that maybe contribute, like to what you are seeing, like this player is going to be.
You just talked about analytics.
Yes.
Like, do you like it? Like, or do you think people put too much into that? Because to me, like, it's good, but you can't control everything. At some point,
at the end, the human go back.
Yeah, the motor, the character, and how you're gonna handle the game.
Yes.
You can't control that with analytics.
Yes, the analytics doesn't show that, but it puts players in position, like what I've learned, it puts players in position to really like succeed. Yeah, you can also track history. You can track what trends are, like you can also project off of some numbers, sometimes. So the analytics to me has really helped, like me, but I do agree, like that you can't make it the prime, like focus on how you do that. But data has become something that honestly like is very important in how like we do our jobs on, like on all fronts.
As a GM, sometimes you have to make some heartbreaking decision. Talk to us about the 2018 when you decide to split Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan.
Yes.
It was a tough decision for you?
Yes, it's one of the toughest things I've ever done, like in my life, like DeMar, unbelievable kid, like I can't even, sometimes I can't imagine it. I always say the most difficult part, Tony, in doing our jobs, the most difficult thing is trading a player and when a player leaves. It's the two things that are the most difficult thing in the business. The most difficult, because imagine if Tony Parker is a free agent and then he decides that, you know what, I don't want to stay here anymore. I want to go somewhere else. Breaks the heart of the city, the team, and all of that.
I've seen James Harden break the heart of the lot of city.
Yeah. and then you trade a player. The organization is the one doing it. It's time that builds those relationships back, and I'm glad me and DeMar are okay, but for a while, it's really...
It was mad?
It's really hard. It takes time. It took me 2 hours. I was in Kenya on the phone. Took me 2 hours to sum up the courage. And trust me, I don't fear anybody. I'm not one of those, I face. It took me 2 hours. It was 4 a.m. in the morning. I walked around the hotel. I was on a trip with President Obama in Kenya. Walked around the hotel for 2 hours to sum up the courage to call him. It's heavy, and that guy was never late, gave everything to the organization, his passion, but we felt it was time, and I had to make a decision like this, but I'm telling you,
crazy.
It's not easy. Same thing with Dwayne Casey, letting Dwayne Casey go at the same season.
He's a great guy too.
Yeah, unbelievable. I always say 3 people: my dad, my coach in Nigeria, Coach OBJ, that coached me since I was 12 years old, incredible man, and Coach Casey. I see them as fatherly figures in my life. And imagine I have to walk from my office to his office
Tell him it's finished.
after he's won 57 games, he's coach of the year, like to tell him, like I have to move in another direction. It's not something you go home and you sleep well, like I don't care whether we won a ring, I don't care what you do, like as human beings, those are two of the most unbelievable human beings I've ever been around. And I'm not saying it just to say it.
But it was a successful decision because you won you tell me the ring is nothing, you prefer the relationship,
Yeah.
but you won a ring. And I was risky to bring Kawhi Leonard. After 1 year he didn't play for the Spurs.
Yes.
Did you scare about make him come and okay, maybe he's not going to play?
Yeah, this is why we are in these positions,
Exactly.
know. Yeah. You have to make it, like you have to put it. I don't want to say that word, but you have to put your
Right,
own.
French,
got it,
maybe
you got
you
it.
can say it.
Yes. You have to put it, like, and honestly, humbly, I say, that my staff team, Bobby, Teresa, Dan, even the scouts, Patrick, these guys, they put you in a position, like to make those decisions, like, and it's information, it's risk. That's why a leader, like you have to take these chances. And we were extremely lucky, like I developed over the year I developed an incredible relationship with Kawhi, like, and it felt after a while the team around him, like getting Marc Gasol,
Yeah.
having Serge Ibaka, having Kyle Lowry too, like.
Danny Green?
Yes, Danny Green, those guys, like they were veteran players too that knew how to, like come and do their job at a high level.
And the high level.
And,
Yeah.
but you knew it was only one and done for Kawhi, or you have expectation to him staying?
I think you always think, it's what people tell me too when I went to Denver, like I remember, talking to Carmelo, like, and in my mind, when I got the job, I said, I'm going to convince Carmelo to stay. Yeah, you know what I mean? I have
You always think you have a chance.
Yeah, always
For
think
sure.
you have a chance,
For
know,
sure.
like you have relationships, like, how it is,
Nah, for
DT, like and you just feel you have a chance. You feel you're the one that can do it, like, so I felt we had that relationship, like I felt it's great in the city, like globally, I thought it was incredible, like the platform for him. I could genuinely see that, like even though Kawhi had like a wall a little bit, like I can see genuinely that he actually liked it, like, so yes, I thought we did, but a player wants to go home, like I'm the one that, I can't speak from both sides of my mouth. I'm the same one that traded DeMar. If Kyle Lowry, if Kawhi Leonard or Fred VanVleet decides to leave, like I can't sit here and say, like, man, why? Was still
part of the
close.
business,
It's
yeah.
part of the business. Was still very close, like, and with all of them, and
I think
I'm lucky.
that's good if you can save that. That's great.
Yeah.
I had to make a tough decision too to let go of my brother, 2 months ago, and that's like very tricky. Like you say, it took
No,
me a
how
while.
was
You know,
that?
Oh, that was very tough. Yeah, it was very, very tough.
you have
to
very,
catch-
very tough.
You have to catch
That's
your
why.
brother.
That's why I remember, like when you said like you were walking around.
Yeah.
I kind of did the same thing.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Yes.
Same thing. And
No,
then you have to try
business,
to find the words. you know.
Yeah, these things are difficult, like decisions, to make, and you just hope on both sides it works out, like well. That always is my prayer, like that you treat people well in this business, like, and I can honestly like walk with my head high, like and say, every single person, like I've dealt with, like players, like you've treated them the best possible way that you can, and you're honest. Even if the conversation is a tough one, like figure out the courage, figure out the way to be, like to be honest and direct, and live with the tough times, live with walking around the hotel for 2 hours. You have to live with it. You have to live with it, man.
For sure.
Figure it out.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. It's
It's tough.
Stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, like the level of the NBA and the way it is the game and the EuroLeague?
Yes.
Like, do you think it's starting to be pretty close? Like when you watch an NBA game and when you watch a EuroLeague game, you think it's far?
Unfortunately for me, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not as I don't have as much knowledge of the EuroLeague in terms of like really like watching the games, because we tend to follow. It's like when they ask me about college basketball, they say like, what do you? I'm watching like players, like, so we focus a lot on players. And yes, I watch the game. I know what the trends are, like, but from everything I've watched and seen, being in this business, I see everything just growing. And I see now everybody having the courage to actually like project, innovate, be bigger, be more dynamic, like on how you look at things, like openly. And if these leagues do that, it's the same thing we see in Africa, we see with BAL. You continue to grow, you never know where this is going to go. Yeah, but the advantage of Europe here is it's just been too long that you've had grown players like Tony Parker coming up, like there's a system that feeds the Lithuanians, Serbians, the French, like all these places. Now you cannot like turn your eye away on a player because of that phone. Yes, that phone. My son is 7 years old. He did not learn a step back from anybody teaching him. He learned from watching it. You know what I mean? We didn't have that. No, we didn't. Yeah, we saw Michael Jordan on VHS, like,
And it's difficult to copy the jump of Michael Jordan.
yeah, exactly. Like, but now, like, what players can see, what young kids can see, it's incredible. So I see these leagues all like developing, like I'm becoming, better. I don't know much about like the politics involved, like here, like I haven't studied the dynamic, like, but these are leagues and these are traditions that are very well respected around the world.
I don't know if you're allowed to talk about the players, but what do you think about the French talent? It looks like we're going to have another two French guys in the top three, maybe three, and the draft next year.
We're going to have to sell this place for you to pay my fine. For
so we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about it.
So it's okay, man.
He's read a lot, I'm going to charge you guys after this.
I don't want you to get fined. So if we can talk about it,
lots of young players. I can talk about it like overall. I'm actually going to lunch with Adam after this, so I'll tell Adam that just prepare, please, because I'm about to get. Just put it a little bit lower.
I think Adam is already doing fine for Tristan Thompson fighting yesterday.
Yeah, I know from yesterday.
But that was good though, because they always complain that those games is like an all-star game and they're not playing hard. At least they were playing hard. They were trying to win. They were competing. So when you're going to compete, sometimes
I know
you get a little fight.
No, like lots of young players. You cannot look away now. Yeah, you cannot. There's no way you can go anywhere and say, like you discredit somebody or say, like, hey, this guy is not good enough, or he doesn't play in a big enough league, or he doesn't, like, they're all. There's some way, like a talent, like shows up, and you have to pay attention to it.
Before going to play pool, one quick question: did you ever think as a GM to make up a trade for TP?
I did not know about that question.
Every time you call San Antonio, It's not happening. So we don't even.
So you call.
We don't even bother calling. You can't call because he's you know when we always say, you know, like untouchable.
Yeah, untouchable.
Yes.
TP was untouchable.
San Antonio didn't make a lot of trades. Anyway.
Untouchable.
The Spurs,
Yeah,
they don't make a lot of trades.
They don't make very many. You know, like that's why they're very good. You know, like but yes,
Untouchable Parker.
Untouchable. Maybe I can sign you now.
Yeah, a little bit old now. A little bit old. Let's go play some.
Come on.
Let's go play a little bit.
I don't know how to do this.
You play some pool?
I don't play pool, man. So you guys gonna have to show me how to do this.
Masai, you know there is a race for the rookie of the year between Victor and Chet Holmgren.
Yes.
In my opinion, I'm not using the word cheating, but spending 1 year already for Chet Holmgren in the franchise, learning how Mark Daigneault, the coach, is make his team playing, he got a big advantage on Victor. You agree about that?
You know, it's again, you know, like talking about other teams' players is gonna be tough, you know, like here. But I will say this, you know, like I'm so pumped up that we have like that kind of talent.
Yeah, it's great. It's great for the league.
It's great for the league, you know, like for us to be talking about this and talking about two players that actually have that like dynamic, you know, like they're both incredibly dynamic players, you know.
For me, they're like the prototype of the new generation of how the player is going to be. And what you talked about, that the court is going to need to be bigger.
Yes.
If you have 5 guys like this, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, imagine a couple of those guys being on the same team.
On the same team, like
for
sure.
It's a lot of space.
I'm sorry, I'm very good.
No, I see. You told me you were not. And now that I can see you are.
Tell us about your foundation, Giants of Africa.
And now, you know, 20 years ago, I got the opportunity to, I thought how I came to America, you know, like there's so many talented, like young kids, bigger, smarter, you know, like better. How do I give back in some kind of way? So I decided to go and start doing basketball camps, you know, like on the continent. And then it just started to get bigger because I was the director of Basketball Without Borders with Amadou, and we're doing this in South Africa and bringing kids from all over. And I said, I want to bring this to Nigeria. Let me see how we can do this in Nigeria. So I brought it to Nigeria, and it started like developing and becoming bigger and bigger. And we had a big man camp and all the things we see, you know, like. And then I just started thinking about taking it all over, you know, like Africa, because one time I came to Nigeria and I got shut out of the gym. They were using the gym for church.
Okay.
Yes. So they didn't let me use the gym, and I was mad. And I said, you know what? I have to go to my mom's country. My mom is from Kenya. So I went to Kenya, you know, and and I saw how receptive it was, you know, like, so now I started going to other countries on the continent. Then I thought, okay, you know, you teach these kids life skills, you know, like be on time, be honest, treat women well, treat women well. And I start preaching to these kids, your mom, your sister, your girlfriend, your wife, how do you treat them? But for me to even evolve more, I said, I'm gonna bring girls, do a girls camp too. You know, like, and you bring them side by side. Yes. They wear the same shoes, they wear everything. And now it develops into a boys' camp and a girls' camp. Then we started to build basketball courts. Then we started to go into communities, you know, like, and then we made a commitment. So I have to do what now?
You have to play with the white one.
Yes.
And you have to try to put
the
color one anywhere you want.
Okay.
This is your first time you play? No.
Maybe second. I've never played this before. Okay. No, honestly, it's one sport that I've never ever played.
Okay.
So let me see here. So I have to hit which one?
The one you want.
The blue.
No, which is the most valuable one that I should hit?
The biggest one is 15 points.
15?
Yeah.
But this one's gonna be tough to make, though.
I know. So let me just try this one.
If you make it, I pay the fine for you. Not bad. Not bad.
Not bad, not bad, not bad.
Hey.
Not bad.
Now, so I started to develop this. For me, when it went from camps to teaching them skills and coaching and all of that, it became a lot of life skills, you know, like what you're really teaching like these kids and how to be, because how many of them are going to be Tony Parker? How many of them are going to be Joel Embiid? It's very, very few. Yeah, but many of them come, and many of them can be
have a
me.
job, yeah.
Yeah, it can be you. Yes, can come and do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a different part of sports that is building now that they can become. And then we made a commitment to build 100 courts on the continent.
Nice.
Yes, and we're at 31 now, I think. We're building really nice outdoor courts, fencing them, you know, like putting the infrastructure. So there are leagues, there are camps, there's women programs, there's community programs run in the schools or on the courts, you know, like that. That we build. And now I'm going into like thinking about like arenas, you know, like and how we lack arenas on the continent. And the reason Kigali and Senegal are doing so well is because they have those two arenas near there, but we need those. So Giants of Africa has really, honestly, has given me an incredible opportunity, because when you do things with youth, they are tomorrow, right? Yeah, they are what's going to take over everything that we're doing, and that's really fulfilling for me. I wouldn't even go into. So Chine just had her wedding. She married a Giants of Africa kid. He was in Giants of Africa from 12 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Ralph. And he came to school in the States, and he played in Miami, played basketball. He's a boxer and an engineer now. She just got married to him. I went to go to his wedding, go to their wedding in Houston. There was about 37 Giants of Africa kids at the wedding, attending the wedding, that have come to the States, gone to school. 7 of his best men were Giants of Africa kids.
Nice.
And so, and it was really fulfilling to see. They've moved to the States, they don't play basketball anymore, they have their business, they're doing different things, you know, like, it's incredible. So it's really grown, you know, like, and super proud, you know, like that we can do something like this. Super proud of Amadou, all these guys that really doing stuff in Africa, you know, like.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's a great story.
to grow the game.
Good job, Masai.
So you're gonna hit. Are you good? Are you good at this?
No.
You're not?
Good at all. Not good at all. No. I
So where do I go now? Which one do I go? Same white?
Yeah, you always start with
You
the white
always
one,
hit the
and
white
you
one,
pick
and you pick a ball that
Where
you
is
want
that
to play.
15 one?
15.
Is this right here? So I can.
Stuck.
Yes.
Stuck.
Yeah.
Who put it there? You or you?
He did, because you break. No, I think you can try to hit the blue to try to go there.
That's what I'm
the
gonna
only
try
shot.
here.
Masai, do you think Team USA is in trouble this summer for Olympics? Again?
I'm trying to get US players and you're trying to get me in trouble here.
You're really gonna have to pay the big fine.
I know.
I don't know
You
if I
sure
can-
you want
I
to
don't know if I
spend
can
all your
afford- I
salary?
don't know if I can.
I think-
It might be
think-
the salary of the year for you.
Maybe.
I think they have. I think now everybody's eyes is open around the world. You know, like, and there's no more. It's just life. There's no more fear. Yeah.
True.
Yes.
But, Team USA just failed in the World Cup, so they might bring all the big.
But I was just gonna
the
say
big
that
player
what makes me happy is what's happened in the World Cup is to make sure that they bring all the best players for USA. So that's good, because it's good for basketball. So then I agree with you that I think the Olympics next year is gonna be amazing.
No, it's going
I think everybody's gonna come.
It's going to be amazing.
It's gonna be amazing.
I forgot in the summer, I came to my office, I forgot that Canada basketball was practicing in our facility.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, with the Raptors facility. That's where they practiced before they went to the World Cup. And I come into my office and it's all blind, so you can't see the court. So I go into my office door and then I open the door opens up into the court.
Okay.
Yeah. I open my door and it's Shea Gilchrist, Dylan Brooks,
Yeah.
and RJ, and
Alexander?
Jamal. They were all talking right in front of my door, and I opened it and I was like, and it's red everywhere, and the atmosphere and the way it was, and Jordy, the way you could tell that they had, they're preparing to do something, like they feel good about themselves. And then when you start to get small results here,
it gives you confidence.
it starts to give you confidence. Now guys think, and it's one game, it's not 82 game season.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's what makes the in-season tournament like kind of exciting, because it's like one. It's like the
I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
In-season?
tournament.
Yeah.
I like
It was
it.
pretty good. I like it too.
Yeah, no, it's
Because
got-
it makes the guys, play hard.
Yeah.
and
I
meaningful
like the
games.
way the Pacers took seriously the tournament. I like
yeah,
it.
everybody took it
Yeah,
seriously, and I think it's even going to grow more,
Yeah, I
because
agree.
it's something different, and I think I was really impressed by how serious and important the players really took it, and Adam has done an incredible job, with
For sure.
doing innovation that way,
Do you have other sports that you follow? Do you watch other sports to help you then watch basketball differently?
I'm a big time football fan, soccer.
Soccer.
Yes, yeah. I
What's
follow.
your favorite team?
I follow it so. This is a long story. I'm a Manchester United guy.
Okay.
Yeah, but then when I went to Denver, the owners, the Cronkies, they own Arsenal. Arsenal.
No, Arsenal. That's right, Arsenal. That's right,
Yes.
Arsenal. Yeah, that's right.
So you change your mind?
Yeah, no, so I changed my mind publicly, but
But in my heart,
but in my heart, yeah, no, but I'm just a fan of, how dynamic that game is, and that sport, is. I study all a lot of sports, whether it's American football or hockey, and you study how it's managed, and we visit a lot of other teams, other sports.
Facilities
Yes,
and stuff like that,
facilities and things, and how it's the only way you can get better. Yeah, you have to, it's the only way you can improve. And some things that other businesses are doing, even outside of sports, it's amazing. Look at Bob Myers,
He's a fan now.
I mean, he's consulting, to something, but it's expanding your mind to to all the different things that you can do. And that's one thing I say about sports, it's very dynamic. It brings people together, and it brings peace. Everywhere you bring sports, anytime you walk in the name of sports,
Sometimes in France, in soccer stadium, it's not peace. Huh?
no, but it brings people together, and
people together.
yes, and you know what I mean. There's rivalry, there's competition, and sometimes we get, we can get aggressive, but there's just something about it, and now people are seeing the business side of it. That's just incredible.
I agree.
Hey, we didn't talk about what kind of player was Masai Ujiri, because he was playing basketball. What kind of player who are, man?
If you have to wait every year till September 1 for your agent to call you,
I have a deal for you.
That's
It
funny.
means you weren't that good.
I like the way you put it. That was funny. I was waiting where you're gonna go with that. That was funny. Yeah,
That's not a good sign.
That's not a good. That's not a good sign. I'm telling. It wasn't. It wasn't.
You play in Belgium, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I played second division in Belgium. I played in England in the top league. And you travel. You go play in Finland. You play for 1 month here. I was that kind of a player. Yeah, it wasn't. There was no future, in it. And I could tell. I'm just happy that I kept a black book, and the black book was the contacts, of all those people. And
Create your network and-
create a network, and then I took a liking to when your team plays and the junior team plays the game before.
Yeah.
I would be the one that would always watch.
Watch,
Yeah, and coaching the Nigerian junior national team in 2002 gave me the opportunity to think bigger than playing. Yeah, and think of the game differently. And I didn't want to follow like coaching, so scouting, like came to my mind. So to your question, no scout would have watched me. No, nobody would
So
have.
you knew right away that you were more front office than coach?
Yes, yeah, I knew that. I have a passion for how the game is played, but how you put a team together, how you manage people, help people more, create more opportunity for workers, and bring people along, alongside, and then winning. Yeah, better than anybody. Yeah, sports is about winning. Yeah, there's nothing else, there's nothing else that matters in sports. It's about winning. Yeah, if you're not winning, you're not relevant, and you must find a way to win. Yeah, that for me, that's what drives me the most. I love the relationships and we can hug and kiss and say hellos and all that. But, when you go on that court, yeah, there's something about winning, that. It's just incredible. And you experienced it. I'm lucky that experienced it a little bit, nothing drives us, and that's
the best feeling.
It's the best feeling.
Sure.
Last strike. You're not going to win, but give us the last strike.
Yeah, so I'll give the last one.
You know what? No, let's move. You know what? I'm gonna give you
D'accord. Oh,
a
okay.
clear
Like
shot.
this?
Let's do it like this.
Okay.
Yeah. He's gonna try to hit 15.
Oh,
There you go, Masai. Let's see.
Whoa!
There you go. Finish on this. There you go. There you go.
Sports is about winning, baby.
About winning. That's what we're talking about. It's about winning.
Inside the Wall of Fame.
Oh, this is awesome, man.
Let's get it. Let's
Thank you,
get it.
Masai. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great. No,
Thank you. So that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next Friday for another Skweek Show by Tony Parker. Bye-bye.